The following video details contents of Army Document FM 3-39.40 titled Internment and Resettlement Operations. This document has been signed by Joyce E. Morrow, which is the Administrator Assistant of the U.S. Army. This document is 325 pages long and starts on page 38, showing that it applies to U.S. citizens within U.S. territory. On page 38, it clearly states the detainment of citizens of the United States of America within the territory and according to the categories of individuals, primarily DCs, to be housed in IR facilities. On page 146 of this document, it addresses the detainment of U.S. citizens under the Identification of Prisoners section. It states that the first, last name, and middle initial must be put on the first line, and that the prisoner's social security number must also be taken. Prisoners are giving a registration number. 2 profile pictures are taken from the front, and fingerprints are taken according to AR 190-47. Included in these operations are organizations such as the Department of Defense, Department of Homeland Security, FEMA, and the United Nations. On page 56, it states the duties of the Psychological Operations Officer, which identifies trained agitators and political leaders within the facility who may try to organize resistance or create disturbances, to develop and execute indoctrination programs to reduce or remove antagonistic attitudes, identifies political activists. On page 281, it goes into even more detail on how these PSYOPs are used to pacify the population and to ensure cooperation. Now on page 238, it gets into the conditions for the use of deadly force in the camps. And some of the justifications for the lethal force include to terminate an active escape attempt. Now that right there should show you that this isn't no peaceful, loving camp that they're sending you to rehabilitate and to get well. If you try to escape, they will use deadly force to terminate you, is how they put it. On page 244, it calls for the use of snipers during riots to, quote, scan the crowds for agitators and political riot leaders and fire lethal rounds if warranted. So they're used to scan these crowds, and if they think that you are a leader causing these riots in this crowd or agitating it, they can kill you. Now on page 260, it shows the basic layout for one of these camps. It depicts a tribunal area, holding areas, interrogation areas, and mortuaries. Each facility is designed to hold around 4,000 prisoners. Multiple layers of barbed wire wrap several of the internal compartments, and they also double wrap the outside of the whole facility, and it is protected by 24 guard watchtowers. On page 261, it depicts a civilian resettlement facility, which are designed to house 8,000 people. These facilities come with double barbed wire fencing around it with 16 guard towers of its own. Page 262, it shows us what the layout is for the facilities for non-compliant prisoners, designed to hold up to 300 prisoners with interrogation centers, and is guarded by 13 guard towers. Now, there shouldn't be any question as to validity of some of these camps because we've seen them. Every camp is different. They are all across the United States, and the more you know, the better your chances of survival are. That's why we put this information out there in hopes that you share it with your friends, your family, with military, with people that are inside the police force, within your town, within your community. Just to put these facts out there. These are downloads. I'll leave you links. They come from transcripts from official Army documents that show the layout of these facilities. And if that wasn't enough, they are even on GoArmy.com. They are putting up ads for jobs for these positions, which I will show you here in a moment. And as we look at GoArmy.com, we see since 2009 they have been posting spots for these positions. And currently, right now, they're still hiring. Internment Resettlement Specialist, 31E. And it also has an overview of the job duties. And you will have supervision of confinement and detention operations, external security to facilities, counseling and guidance to individual prisoners within a rehabilitative program, records of prisoners and internees and their programs. Keep in mind this was drawn up in 2010 and it was just recently leaked, and this is pre-NDAA, so before the National Defense Authorization Act. This was drawn up, and you will have a tribunal of people which you do not even know within this camp decide your fate and your future. Shout outs to Storm Clouds Gathering for their work on this, and they're passionate about this, and so am I. And if you are, you can share this with your friends, family, military, police, everyone in your community, all over Facebook, YouTube. Get the word out there. Let the people know this is real. This is what's going on. And spread the word. Knowledge is power.